What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we are discussing Double Game Week 26. Now, there was rumours a few weeks ago that we get a couple of fixtures into this game week, but actually we've got a lot of fixtures. It's actually quite a big Double Game Week. So I had a chip strategy video all planned, ready to record. I was just about to go and record it, and all this stuff got announced. So we've kind of shifted now. We're going to talk about the announcement, initial thoughts on what it might mean, whether we triple captain, free hit, early wildcard, stuff like that. There's a lot of things in play now. This has really made things interesting. I think a lot of people will just go straight to triple captain Salah in game week 26, which does look good, but there are other options we can go down. So this is going to be like initial thoughts, and I'll go through more kind of deep dive into chip strategy and team selection and stuff like that over the next few days before we get to the game week 24 deadline. So if you do enjoy it, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. Let's just jump into it. I'm going to go through this in one. So this is what's been announced. There's a double game week in 26 for 8 teams. So Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal, Wolves, Spurs, Burnley, Crystal Palace and Watford. Just one minor thing before I forget to say it later. Thanks to FPL Raptor for pointing it out on Twitter. Crystal Palace do have a double of Chelsea and Watford, but Conor Gallagher is on loan, so he won't be able to play the Chelsea game. So he's only got a single game, which is Watford, right? It's still a good fixture, I get it, but obviously not quite as good as having 2 games. So this is one of those weeks where, I can't remember which game week it was now, but we had a double game week recently where a lot of the fixtures weren't that great. And to be honest, it's kind of similar here. The standout is obviously Liverpool, right? Playing Norwich at home, Leeds at home, great double game week. There will not be a better set of fixtures probably in future double game weeks for a triple captain, especially when it's Mo Salah. So when I talk about not triple captaining later on in this video, it's not to say that obviously he's not a great option, because he absolutely is, but there might be a different way to play this week. Leeds have got Man United at home and Liverpool away, and I'm going to go through the fixtures kind of either side of the double about whether or not we should bring a player in, because it doesn't look great, but obviously we love Rafinha, so he could be a good option there. Arsenal is decent. Brentford at home, Wolves at home. Good for maybe Ramsdale, good for maybe Tierney, possibly good for the attackers, Saka and Martinelli in particular. But Arsenal do blank a couple of times, once in game week 25 and once in 27. So bringing them in right now, unless you can bench them for a few weeks, not necessarily ideal. Wolves, Leicester at home, Arsenal away. It's okay. I'd really only want to back Wolves defence probably. And both of those fixtures look fairly difficult for clean sheets. Then you got Spurs, Man City away, Burnley away. It's a shame Spurs don't have a slightly better fixture than Man City, because that's about as bad as it gets. So Son should be back fit by then. He'll probably be back fit for this week, to be honest. Kane obviously as well. But that Man City away fixture just makes the double a little bit less enticing. Burnley obviously talked about Weghorst on a recent video. Could be an option now, but it's Brighton away, Spurs at home. You can see where this is going. There's lots of double game weeks, but they're not necessarily all ideal, apart from Liverpool, which is great. Palace, Chelsea and Watford I've already mentioned. And Watford, right, we're all sick of our Watford players because they didn't do anything in the first game of double game week 23. Well, guess what? They've got another double now. Villa away and Crystal Palace at home, which is okay, right? It's not that bad. So just some initial thoughts. Obviously, when you've got another bigger double to deal with, game week 26, and there's lots of planning to do after that as well, which we will come on to in a minute. You probably don't need to go too crazy on Man United players for game week 25, and to a lesser extent Brighton. There was rumours again, I kind of mentioned it didn't happen in the end, that Brighton might have a double in 26. That hasn't happened. Spurs are playing Burnley instead of playing Brighton, so they've not got back-to-back doubles. So you don't necessarily want to overload on Brighton players either for game week 25, because they're not going to be as good to you afterwards. And obviously Man United don't double in 26 now. Well, they never were, right? But they're not going to double in 26. So if you go for like 3 Man United players and then 2 Brighton players, well, straight away in game week 26 you've got 5 players there that aren't going to double at all. So it's just worth noting that. The one interesting thing, and this is more about free hit strategy, especially if you've got both your free hits left, is Man United do play Watford in game week 27. And in that week, Liverpool and Arsenal both blank. So it's all well and good like loading up on those players. They've got a good double game week. But then you're going to have to think about what to do with them in 27. Now, if you've only got 1 free hit left, then you really need to think about that. Because if you blow the free hit in 27, nothing wrong with that. But game week 30 will also be a big blank. And that game week 30 will almost certainly be full of teams, mostly that you don't want players from long term. So game week 30 is probably the most ideal time to free hit. So if you've only got 1 free hit chip left, you really need to think about Game Week 27 and how you're going to manage it with Liverpool and Arsenal. And again, I'm going to show you the fixtures either side in a minute. Game Week 26. So this is really initial thoughts and reactions. So I've not like massively thought about this, but I'm sure now that early wildcard possibly comes into play. For some of you that have popped the wildcard this week, you now need to think about Game Week 26. Again, you don't necessarily need to have 11 double game week players in 26, but there's enough fixtures there that you're probably going to want a few. One thing to quickly note, I suppose, is there are some other okay single game week fixtures in Game Week 26. So Man City Spurs, I mean, you could skip that, right, from a Man City point of view. Man United play Leeds, which is pretty good. But outside of that, West Ham and Newcastle is also pretty good. So West Ham, if you've got like Antonio, Bowen, maybe a West Ham defender, that could be decent there. Maybe for those of you that have got Villa players, right, Coutinho, Buendia, Luka Dean, Watford at home is pretty good as well. Chelsea, you're probably not going to keep. They've got too many blank game weeks, so we'll ignore that one. And then, like I said, Man United versus Leeds. So there are some okay single game week fixtures in there as well, which means you don't necessarily need to have 11 double game week players, right? Unless you're maybe free hitting, right? It is a big enough double for a free hit. Now, obviously, like I said, everybody is going to be enticed by that Salah triple captain. And don't get me wrong, if I don't free hit in 26, which I'm right now I'm not 100% sure on, if I don't free hit in 26, there is, of course, I'm going to triple captain Salah in 26. Is the most obvious triple captain. I know it's boring. I know everyone's going to do it. I know his ownership's going to be so high that the points he gets will barely matter. But I don't care. It is the best time to play the triple captain chip if you're not using any other chips that week. So that's obvious. But it is a big enough double now for a free hit. I think we've got 8 teams, right? And again, everyone's going to have to reassess their own team. So again, if I bring my team back up, so Man United not doubling, Man City not doubling. So that straight away from my team as it stands right now, 1, 2, 3. So De Gea, Cancelo, Dawson, Foden, Bowen, Gray, Ronaldo and Antonio. That's 8 players in my first 11. Now, obviously, I've got 3 on the bench as well, but none of them are doubling either. And not doubling in 26. So I'm quite behind on players for that. Whereas if we go back to what the fixtures, a lot of people will have Rafinha. Some people will still have Ramsdale on the bench. Might be carrying Martinelli or Saka. Maybe Aït-Nouri from Wolves. Possibly Kane. Maybe some Burnley players. Probably not too many. Probably not too many Palace either. And obviously Watford as well. So I've got Foster and King, so I've potentially got a goalkeeper, but probably not one that I necessarily want to play, right? Because the fixtures aren't great. So you need to think about that. That's why my initial reaction is free hit is an option. And I'm not saying it's the best strategy for everyone, but if you've got 2, then it might be worthwhile, right? Because Liverpool and Arsenal both blank in 27. So what a lot of people will be looking to do now is load up on Liverpool, obviously, right? Liverpool are great, and maybe load up on Arsenal as well, and then free hit them out in 27. But for my team, right, and not everyone's team is the same, I've only got 2 Liverpool players right now, and depending on what happens with African Cup of Nations, I might not even get Salah back until Game Week 26. So if I free hit him in Game Week 26, obviously I'm going to need a plan to get him later on. But when I get to Game Week 27, I've only got Jota and Trent that are blanking. I'll get rid of Alonso by then anyway. So I've only got 2 players that are blanking. So my Game Week 27 team probably doesn't look that bad, right? If we come to the Game Week 27 fixtures, I've got Antonio and Bayern against Wolves. I've got Ronaldo and De Gea against Watford. I could also bring in another Man United player for the double in 25 if I wanted to. And then in 27, I've got them for the Watford game. So it's not looking too bad, really. So that is why, and this isn't, I'll come on to that in a minute, by the way. This isn't for everyone, because it's all going to depend on your team setup. If you've got very few players that are blanking in 27, you could manage that. And if you've got 2 free hits, 1 in 30, 1 in 26, that could be on. Right? I know this is a lot to take in. I'm going to try and break this down in other videos as well. And I think with Game Week 27, especially, again, if you've got 2 free hits, you really need to decide when you're going to use that free hit now, because that is going to change which players you bring in over the next couple of weeks, right? So that is definitely something to note. This graphic, which I accidentally clicked on just a minute ago, this shows, so these are all the teams that are doubling in Game Week 26. I've got to remember which game weeks they are now. This is their fixtures kind of before and after. So the fixtures for Game Week 24 and 25, then the double, then 27 and 28, okay? So Liverpool players, yes, we want them. Obviously, a lot's going to depend on whether Salah will be back for Game Week 24, we might not even find that out from Klopp. I know people have got very strong opinions either way. Some people think he's absolutely guaranteed to play Game Week 24 no matter what. Some people think he's going to be off on holiday no matter what. I'm kind of in the middle, right? I think it's a possibility that he misses out. It's a possibility that he plays. But that's one thing to consider. But Liverpool do blank in 27, and then in 28 they've got West Ham at home. Leeds have got the reason I quite like Rafinha for the double, though the double itself is not great, Man United and Liverpool. Outside of that, Villa, Everton, Spurs, and even Leicester, right? It's not that bad of a run for a player that's nailed on 90 minutes, is on penalties while Bamford's out. May keep them, I guess, possibly, because he's done fine since he's had them. But it's a good run. Arsenal there, this is the problem with Arsenal players right now, is they play Wolves away this week in 24, but then they blank. Then they got a double, but then they blank again. So although they've got that extra game in 26, they have no fixtures either side. So for my team, do I really want to bring them in for that double, knowing they're going to blank straight away? That just forces me into free hit 27. Is free hit 26, and then not having them for 27 a better idea? Although it is worth noting from 28 onwards, they got some pretty good fixtures. Wolves have got fairly tricky fixtures outside of the double. Arsenal, Spurs and West Ham, probably not ideal to target. Spurs, look, again, and you've got to differentiate whether you're... I know a lot of people probably aren't going to free hit 26, but if you're not, then although Spurs double is not that great, Man City and Burnley, the fixtures outside of that are okay, right? Southampton Wolves is okay. Leeds is pretty good. Everton under Lampard, we don't know how they're going to be. That is a pretty good fixture run with a double included. So I quite like Spurs players, but obviously they're tricky to fit in because you've got to think about Salah, and you've also got to think about maybe a Man United captain in Game Week 25. So there's lots of things to think about. Burnley fixtures are really poor outside of the double, so I probably wouldn't be looking there. I think Weghorst is not a bad option if you can bench him a lot of weeks. So that looks okay, but outside of that, the fixtures are not great. Palace's fixtures are decent, but obviously Conor Gallagher is not going to double in 26. So maybe a defender, possibly Guaita, maybe Edouard, someone like that could be an option who you can carry through and have them in the double. And then Watford's fixtures are pretty poor, so I wouldn't like King, Dennis double up. I don't know if it's worth keeping just because you've got a double in 26. So they are the fixtures, right, for either side. And then if I come onto my team, so my initial thoughts are, am I brave enough to not triple captain Salah in Game Week 26 when he's got such a good fixture? And if not, when the hell do I bring him in? So the trouble for my team is, to get Salah, I either need to sell Jota or Foden. And if I'm not free hitting in 26, why would I sell Jota ahead of a double? I don't really want to sell Foden either. So then Ronaldo is my basically money cash cow to get Salah, but I've got to keep him for 25. So there is a possibility that I don't buy Mo Salah until Game Week 26, and in Game Week 26 I shift Ronaldo to buy Salah, and before that obviously I bring in a few players, maybe Rafinha for example, that are going to double later on. And then in Game Week 27, I free hit, and I also free hit in Game Week 30. But I need to really think about it. There is a possibility that I just get through 27 because I've not got many players that are blanking. And then in Game Week 26, I free hit. Now, I did kind of put together a bit of a free hit team. And this, to be honest, I'd say this will probably put a lot of people off going with this strategy because it's not necessarily ideal, right? I think double Arsenal at least, maybe triple with the fixtures against Brentford and Wolves is probably okay. So Martinelli, you could maybe put another one in there, and Tierney. Or you have to have triple Liverpool, right? There's no question marks over that. The reason Liverpool are blanking in Game Week 27 is because of the League Cup final. So there are kind of already a bit of speculation from the FPL community that is there a chance that players get rested in this Leeds game? I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. So I would definitely triple out. I'd probably go Salah, Robertson, Trent. You could have Jota in there. But I guess if Mane, Firmino, Salah, Jota, Luis Diaz are all available, there is maybe a bit of rotation there. So I think you either have Robertson or you have Jota. I think that's the only question mark. Up front, I've gone for King and Weghorst. Both got doubles. Ronaldo with a single game week against Leeds. Again, you could put another double game week player in. But if we go back to the fixtures, there's just not a huge amount of striker options there. Like Lacazette maybe from Arsenal. Jimenez maybe from Wolves. You could try and fit... you could have Kane in there, right? You'd probably have Harry Kane instead, right? So we can actually switch that now. I'll put Harry Kane in there. Not really sure why I had Ronaldo. So there you go. So you'd have Kane in there instead. And then these 4 slots would all just be cheap players. So that's the kind of free hit you can have. So I guess you can kind of assess your own team against this. Like, I've already got 3 Liverpool players. How much do I want to use a free hit just to add all these? Like, I could add Rafinha fairly easily with free transfers. I've got Ronaldo, so I could switch Ronaldo to Harry Kane in game week 26, for example. So have Ronaldo for the double in 25, then switch into 26, Harry Kane with a double in 26. And then in 27, Man United have Watford, which is a good fixture, right? Again, we're talking about blanks here. But Spurs also have Leeds. So having Kane for that Leeds game is not that bad, right? So that could be a fairly easy switch. So right now, if I go back to kind of initial thoughts, I think free hit in 26 is an option. I need to give it more thought, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I can probably get to enough double game week players without having to use the free hit. I mean, there's not that many weeks left, right? By the time we get to 26, we've only got till game week 38 till the season's over. We still got to fit in a bench boost, a wild card. Some people have got 2 free hits and a triple captain. So triple captain 26 could be the option. And then free hitting, I don't know, 27, 30. And if I don't free hit in 27, there's always the option of 33 as well. And I know this is so much information now, but game week 33 could be a blank and could have doubles as well. So a free hit might be ideal. So I think there's a chance that I just work through 25, 26 and 27 and don't use any free hit chips at all, even though I've got 2. But I'll give that some more thought. So there we go. That's what's been announced. 8 double game week players. I think it's quite exciting in terms of what you can do. There's a lot of options there, but maybe not a lot of standouts. And obviously we are going to have to kind of think about the fixtures before and after as well. So that graphic's probably going to be quite helpful. So I will leave that one there. That's the announcement. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Has that changed your chip strategy? Anyone pop in early wildcards? Is it just triple captain in game week 26 and that's it? There's nothing else to think about, right? Mo Salah, Norwich at home, Leeds at home is probably about as good as it gets. If you did enjoy that, please do give it a like and hit that subscribe button. We'll be ramping up the videos now ahead of game week 24. I keep forgetting the game weeks at this point. Ahead of the game week 24 deadline on Tuesday. So I'm going to do a chip strategy video soon. Kind of what my thoughts are and what you could do, because wildcard game week 28 was a big talking point recently in the community, and I do quite like it because there's a lot of fixture swings, but I now need to work out how that fits in with kind of the game week 26 stuff as well. So lots to think about. I will have more videos over the next coming days as we get to game week 24 deadline on Tuesday. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you again soon.